Maybe it'll work now.
Give it time. Well, thank you. Thanks, Joe, for that introduction, and thank you, Ricky, for that video. That was really, really great. Thanks for the warm welcome from all of you. We've got people here from everywhere. I was shaking a few hands earlier, a few pictures, and people from Bulgaria to, all over the world here. I love doing these presentations in Europe because it's so diverse. There's so many different languages and accents. It makes me really listen closely and try to understand everything and capture what everybody's saying because there's so much great information. And it is true that I did get conned into doing a presentation at a nudist colony one time in Florida. The guy would not tell me where we were going. And I remember we drove up to this massive hedge, probably 12 feet tall. It had a guard gate. And as we pulled in, I thought, this is perfect. This guy's got a lot of money, whoever he is. And I'm going to get this guy. And we pulled through the gate. And I remember the first thing I saw was a guy walking across this huge lawn. And all he was wearing was a hat. And I was like, what is that? And this guy said, no, just calm down. He said, I knew you wouldn't come here if I told you it was a nudist colony. But he said, the guy we're going to talk to is wearing clothes, okay? That's okay. So we actually drove in there. That's when I found out that most people don't look very good without clothes on. So, anyway, I've got my family with me on this trip. This is rare. Usually I'm traveling alone around the world in different cities, in different countries, speaking. And so my wife, Joyce, is here. Joyce, if you stand up. And she's put up with me doing this business like a crazy person for all these years, and it would not have been possible without her. And her holding down the home fort, the home front, and keeping everything moving at home. So hers is really the recognition, the honor of raising amazing daughters. I was part of that, but she did most of it, that's for sure. And so we have 4 daughters. We have 10 grandchildren, and 2 of our daughters are here with us today on this trip. They're working the business and doing things. So we have Jenny, who you met, that did a few minutes up there on the panel earlier, doing great things. Super proud of her and all that she's doing. Husband Landon is sitting next to her. Wave your hand there, Landon. There you go. Very supportive husbands. And then other daughter Rebecca's over there in the back. Rebecca, stand, come up here so they can see you. In fact, Rebecca didn't get to say anything, so come here, Rebecca, go fast. While Rebecca's coming up here, I'm going to get a picture of all of you. Everybody smile. Perfect, nice job. All right, so here's Rebecca. Rebecca Evans.
My mom gets to come up with me.
So why don't you just tell me just quickly your story and why you decided that you would engage in New Skin Now. I think your lapis?
Yes.
Executive? Okay, good.
Yeah, so similar to Jenny's, my dad approached all 4 of us actually and was trying to get us to post. Said you should check it out, it's going crazy everywhere. And I thought, I love the products, but I have to get my own results. So I'll try it first and let's see if I get my after picture and then I'll post. Jenny, she didn't need her after, she just went for it. And then after I got really, really good results, and then just went from there, and our team's been growing, and like she said, it's got 500 people on it now. I qualified for South Africa last month, I think, so it's been a great journey. So great. We're lucky to have such a good venture, right?
All started walking. I think the time I got really excited was when they went potty for the first time. That's when we were really clapping and cheering, right? And if you're a parent, you know what a great day that is, right? Anyway, thank you for being here. There's so many of you from so many places. I know some of you probably didn't even sleep last night because you had to get to a ferry and get across the sea and get over here this morning. How many of you did that? Look at that. So many. And a lot of you flew in on airplanes and came from other places and made really big sacrifices to be here today. So you did the right thing. You know, if you just pick up one thing, just one thing from this event today that gives you a different way of thinking, that gives you a different vision about what you can accomplish in this company, then it was worth the whole thing, wasn't it?
Yes.
It is, and that's why events are so important, because you get exposed to so many different people, so many different stories in such a short period of time, that it's a very efficient way for you to kind of watch people and listen and see who you identify with. So all the men that are here today, are you kind of wondering what you're doing here? You know, sometimes I watch these amazing women. The women are literally like way more powerful than us guys, typically, right? The women basically run the world. The guys just kind of act like it. And yet we sit here and we're like, wow, that's pretty cool about like that, you know, posting and toothpaste, and now we got power lips in the U.S., right? And all these things. And I'm a little disconnected myself. I mean, I don't know if any of the guys feel that way. It's just kind of like, this is really cool. I mean, I'm not posting about hair mask, I don't think. I'm not posting, you know, power lips, and I'm not posting a lot of these products, you know, with plumping gloss, I mean, or balm, I guess it is, yes. And, you know, I don't see myself doing the before and after, even the half the piece of that, right? And so it's a little bit different, and it was no different when I started. It was the same thing. We had 90 products when I started, and most of them were facial products. A couple of shampoos. We had a liquid body loofah, rejuvenating cream, the facelift and activator, and that's all I lived on. I just did massive numbers of facelift and activators. And it was as simple as like just mixing those two together. I'd literally stir up with my finger, completely unsanitary. And then I would drool it on people's faces and drip it all over. And then rub it in a little bit, go, and I sit right there, and they start laughing, go, shut up. We got to give it 20 minutes, so we'll wash it off, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And we did those like crazy. I remember the opening of Korea. We had 1,000 people in this room on a Saturday for the first training in Korea, and we did 1,000 half-face demos that day. We did them on each other. You know, we had all those bottles going around the room, and everybody mixing up facelift. And I've done thousands, tens of thousands of those half-face demos with facelift and activator. I got more sophisticated as time went on. We got the galvanic spot. Made the half-face demo a lot easier to do, a lot more sexy than the way we used to do it, right? And all these things have happened over time, but it was all in the beginning, it was the same thing. And I remember getting pitched on it by my brother-in-law, Craig, and I remember thinking to myself, how am I going to sell this? I have no experience with skincare at all. My total, skincare experience is called chapstick. That's it. That's all I know about. And how am I going to help anybody understand why these are different? And so, we had my wife, we had other people in our family that were using the product, and they basically said, yeah, it's really different. This product is really different and better than the other big brand name products. And that gave me confidence. And, I wanted to do a business. I wanted to find something that could make us free. That was my main motivator, my main driving force, right? I mean, you've got to have a really big goal. And I thought about this today. All morning, this amazing presentation, the social media boot camp that we all participated in. Phenomenal information. Frankly, overwhelming for a guy like me. I didn't build my business on social media, right? I just did it kind of the old-fashioned way. The internet did not exist when I started. That's how old I am. And so We just had to do this by talking to people, just person-to-person communication. And I thought about it this morning. I was thinking, I don't know if anybody else is feeling like they can't remember all this. I'm not sure when I'm going to post and how I'm going to post and what I'm going to say to anybody. I'm not sure how to brand myself for sure, how to be really authentic. I'm not sure about any of it, frankly. You know, I know you guys know it way better than I do it. That's a huge advantage for you, okay? I'm an old dog trying to learn new tricks. And it's hard sometimes for the old dogs. They didn't grow up with it, right? And so the fact is that as I thought about it deeply, I thought, all you really need to have is one thing. You can learn all this, and you'll get better, and you'll be more efficient as you do learn all of that. But all you really need is one thing. You just have to have a great big dream, a great big goal, a great big why in your heart. If you want this bad enough, you're going to do it. You'll figure it out. If you want this bad enough, you'll talk to enough people. If you want this bad enough, you'll wade through the disappointment and the discouragement that will come your way on your journey to Blue Diamond and Team Elite and to the top of the company, right? And you'll figure it out if you want it bad enough. And I remember at our Social Success Summit we had in July in the U.S. and Ricky and Perry came over and participated with us. And Perry said one comment that just really stuck to me. She just said, if you knew how big my goals are, it'd freak you out, or you'd be scared to death, or something like that. Because she's got really big goals. Now, I've not heard what those are, but I'm assuming that they're audacious, you know? And when you have really big goals, when you've got a big why, a big mission in your life that you're going to go accomplish, you're not going to let little things stop you. You know, you're going to blow right through those little things. You're going to stay focused on the objective, what the end game is, and how you're going to get to the end game, right? Most of you know my story. You've heard my story, I'm sure, either online or you've heard me at a meeting someplace, somewhere, tell the story. But I was in real estate when I got recruited into New Skin. Had a little real estate brokerage. We made $150,000 a year, just depended on the year. That was really good money for the early 1980s, you know? That was like a lot of money in those days. And so I wasn't really looking for something new. I had been involved in 2 other network marketing companies, both of which ended up going bankrupt, okay? And my brother-in-law was my sponsor in both of those companies. So I wasn't too excited to get the 3rd phone call from the same brother. And I came home late that night from the office, and it was a long day. I was tired. I just wanted to have dinner. I didn't want to talk about anything. And the telephone rings. And it's him on the end of the phone, right? And he starts telling me all about New Skin. And the whole time I'm thinking, how do I get out of this? What am I going to say? How do I reject this thing? How do I get him off the phone? And that was my thought process. And he went on for a few minutes, and I finally just said, Craig, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I am just not going to do New Skin. And the phone goes dead silent. It seemed like a long time. It was probably 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And he came back and he said, what is your problem? And sometimes only family can talk to family like that. And I thought to myself, great, he wants to know my problem. I think I'll tell him. And I said, Craig, my problem is I'm a really competitive person. And I said, you've already been doing this for 3 or 4 years. You're making $20,000 or $30,000 a month already. You're already so far ahead of me that even if I started today, I'd probably never catch up to you. I'd just push you higher. And that would drive me crazy for the rest of my life. And that's my problem. And that's being 100% honest. Has anybody ever thought that? Like, why do I want to join this thing? I'll just make that person richer? No. And he just went quiet again, and he came back strong. And he said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. He said, why should you care about the success I'm already having at New Skin? I didn't see you here doing New Skin. You chose real estate. I chose New Skin. Maybe you made the wrong choice. And he said, just write this down, Nathan. He said, I'm going to move forward in this business with or without you. That's a really important phrase that every one of you should write down right now. I'm going to move forward in this business with or without you. Why is that an important phrase? Because it sets up the right relationship. It shows somebody that you're not chasing them, that you could care less if they join your team or not. Okay? That's the message it conveys. It's like, I don't need you. I'm going to do it with or without you. Okay, so it straightens up the relationship. And then he said, I'm going to make $100,000 a month in this business, whether you do it or not. Now that was just like driving a stake in my heart. You know, for a competitive person to hear that kind of a goal from somebody, and you realize with the tone in his voice that he's probably going to do it, and you think to yourself, if he actually does that, and I'm still stuck over here doing my little real estate gig, I'll probably jump out of the window, right? That'll be too hard to take, because I'm too competitive. And so, that's the first time I started to listen. And that's when he said, Nathan, can I tell you your real problem? This is really important, because he was so clear on what his message was going to be to me. And I hope you get this. He said, let me tell you your real problem. You are in the wrong vehicle. You're in the wrong vehicle. And he wasn't talking about the car I was driving. He was talking about my financial vehicle, which was my real estate business at the time. And he said, you're in the wrong vehicle. It's like you're pedaling a bicycle. He said, me, I'm driving a Ferrari. And it doesn't matter how fast you pedal that bicycle, you will never catch me in my Ferrari. He was trying to, in my little mind, help me understand the difference in different financial vehicles. And a lot of you here have never been in a financial vehicle that makes any sense in your life. You know, you've had a job, or you've worked for somebody else your whole life. Okay? A job is a job is a job. Okay? That's all it'll ever be. It'll never be anything more than a job. It'll pay you enough to keep you coming back, but never enough to set you free. They don't want you to be free. They want you to have to come back, you know, like a pig to the slop, right? Like a cow to the manger. You got to come back and, you know, get the paycheck again. If you don't live for the next 2 weeks. And so you rent your body and brain to these companies and these people for nothing. Literally, for your existence, you rent your body and brain. And there's nothing left at the end of the month. There's always more month left at the end of the money. Right? And that's all it'll ever be with the job. And you'll spend your whole life basically going back and forth from work to home, back and forth every day with nothing really to look forward to. No security, no freedom, no real future, no real happiness. You're just working a job. And maybe that's why people go to the pub and drink it away, you know, because it's too painful. Because that's a pretty pitiful existence, back and forth every day. Life is a lot better than that. It's a lot bigger than that. There's so many more opportunities, so many greater things out there that you can do. And as we've learned today, we have to change our thinking about where we're going and what we do. And I guess my message for the last 28 plus years, as I have traveled the world, has been examine your vehicle. It's all about the vehicle. Do you have a vehicle that can get you where you want to go? Because a job is not a vehicle that's going to take you anywhere. And once people finally figure that out, they start to understand that there's not enough time in their life, you know? They're wasting time. Every day that you trade time for money, you're wasting time. You should be in a vehicle that allows you to create leverage from day one. As soon as you start to sponsor people and you start to build a team, now you're getting paid on more hours than you can invest yourself in a given day. And for all the men that are sitting here wondering why you're in this room today, okay, this right here is why you're in this room. Because it is no longer time for you to trade your life away. Okay? That is not a future. That's an existence. It's not a future. Okay? You're here because you have now stumbled across. Thank goodness your wife got into that posting thing, okay? You have stumbled across the right vehicle for the first time in your life, and it's total luck. Total luck that you're even here. But you're dang lucky that you're here today. Because we're going to save you from yourself. Okay? We're going to save you from going out there and trading your life away in some company, someplace, somewhere. Okay? You might even make good money, but you have no time. You might make incredible money. You really have no time. You have no life. Right? And this business is great because why? Why is this the best business that you will ever see. I've said this so many times all over the world to try to crack through your thick skull so you can understand. Why is this the best business you will ever see? Because you can get huge upside leverage. You can scale this thing so big. And with social media, you can scale it even bigger and faster now, right? You can scale it so huge with no risk. Every other business I'm involved in, every other business I know of, you want to scale a business that takes huge risk, huge investment, huge capital, hire tons of people, borrow tons of money, get tons of investors, right? Massive risk. And that gives you huge downside if things don't go well. Life ceases to exist as you understand it if they don't go well. Okay? This is totally different. You can get bigger upside than you can virtually any other business you will ever look at, and you do it with zero risk. New Skin's already taken all the risk. What's our risk? Time. Time and energy. That's our only risk. Okay? Now, time is the most valuable thing you have. Once time's gone, it's gone forever. Right? I'm constantly wanting to be more efficient on doing my life, everything in my life, because I feel like time's running out. There's so many things I want to do, and I haven't got time to do them all. And so I want to be more efficient all the time. You're going to invest your time here. And if you're going to do that, you better be serious. Don't screw around. Don't sit there and Twitter back and forth, you know. Don't be doing the hokey pokey, right? 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in. You're shaking out. Don't be acting like a flippin' weirdo, okay? Just jump in with both feet. Make a decision you're going to do it. Who is the hardest person for you to recruit? Yourself. You are the hardest one to recruit, especially men. Back and forth. I've got an identity crisis. Am I a new skin or am I a professional? Am I a new skin or am I a professional? Knock that crap off. Okay? Just make up your mind. Make up your mind you're going to do it or forget it. Forget it. And if you forget it, what are you going to do? Go back and get a job? A pig back to the slot? You know, what do you want to do? When you have this kind of option in front of you and you got this kind of potential in front of you, you want to really go back? I don't think so. Not once you've tasted it, guys. When you have had recurring income, income that shows up in your bank account every month, in the end, almost inside of you, whether you work or not, that will show up, okay? At some point in the development of this business, your efforts are nothing compared to the combined efforts of your team. Okay? They're nothing. I mean, I love being here with you guys today, but it's not going to change my income at all. Most of you are not even in my downline. I'll never make any money on it. Most of you. Some of you are on my team.
Yeah, I am.
Thank you for being here. Okay. But the fact is, okay, that I have enough people, right? When you have 500,000 people in your downline, okay, in 51 countries, and if they just put in 10 minutes a day each, 10 minutes a day, you know what that 10 minutes can consist of? They took a shower. If all they do is take a shower, you've made a lot of money, okay? Because they put new skin shampoo on their head, they use new skin, liquid body glue forever, they use the body cleansing gel, or they use something, right? And maybe they, shave, maybe they put on some skincare products, some sunscreens, maybe they blend in a smoothie with your protein powder, maybe they swallow your supplements. They don't even have to even talk to anybody. All they got to do is take a shower, okay? And you're going to make a lot of money. 10 minutes a day, 500,000 people. That's something like 50,000 hours a day that I get paid on. Okay? How early do you have to get up tomorrow morning for 50,000 hours a day? You got to get up really early. In fact, you can't do it. It's impossible, right? Because you only got 24. It's just you. If you are the focal point of your income generation, gentlemen, are you listening? All you guys that have jobs, if you're the focal point, if it's you and you alone, and if you don't show up, you don't get paid, that means you are the focal point of your income on you. And if you don't make it happen, you don't show up, you don't get paid. That is a rotten place to be. That's the worst position you can find yourself in because it all depends on you. And there's never going to be enough of you to go around, ever. It's impossible. You must destroy this equation of trading time for money out of your life. There's not enough hours in your day to trade for money and make that exchange enough times in a day to ever become wealthy or free. It's impossible. Okay? The equation is impossible. It's the wrong vehicle. You've got to find a vehicle that allows you to leverage yourself. Okay? And when you have 10 people on your team, you're starting to benefit from some interesting leverage. When you have 100 people, it gets more interesting. 1,000 people, it gets really interesting. 10,000 people, you're starting to get free. 20,000, 30, 50,000. You probably never worry about money the rest of your life. You're free. Right? It doesn't matter. You're not the focal point of your income generation any longer. You've replaced yourself. Now you've just got this network of consumption that just keeps happening every day. The sky's the limit. You can build that network as big as you want to build it. And I'm convinced today, with social media and tools that all of you have at your fingertips, literally, right? You can do it bigger than any of us ever did. I'm convinced of that. Okay, so you got to be serious about it. Okay? I mean, I know attraction marketing is great. I'm not sure I can wait for that much attraction. I think I'm gonna want to go out and just hit people. I just want to go hit them directly, right between the eyes. Talk about the vehicle and get their attention. Because if I don't get their attention, they don't have any hope. There's probably not much of a chance they're ever going to have any decent kind of life. Because they're going to be going back and forth to work every day. Okay, so does that make some sense?
Yeah.
I mean, have you kind of understood the core of this whole thing?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the core? The core, guys, is the vehicle. The core is the vehicle to create freedom. That's the core of the whole thing, right? I mean, the social media stuff is all part of it. It's like the big front end of the whole thing. But it's all going to boil down to people who get the core concept. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, maybe this is another way for you to get it. If you're an entrepreneur, all you care about is one thing. Do you know what that is? If you're a true entrepreneur, all you care about is getting the greatest return on your time and energy, no matter what you're investing that in. You don't care if you're selling pantyhose. Guys, are you listening to me? This is the pantyhose, okay? It's skincare and stuff like that you ought to be using anyway, okay? Well, lipstick you can probably pass on, okay? But a lot of other products you're going to use. So listen to me, gentlemen, okay? If you're a true entrepreneur, you don't care what it is as long as you get the greatest return for your time and energy, right? That's the bottom line for entrepreneurs. And I submit to you that there's no other financial vehicle I've seen that pure entrepreneurs can get the same kind of return that they can here. Most entrepreneurs that make it, which is 5% of them, 95% crash and burn multiple times, lose everything. The 5% that actually make it eventually ultimately have to sell their businesses to get free because they're slaves to their business. Anybody here who's got their own business or who's had one knows what I'm talking about. You're the first one there, you're the last one to leave every day. Nobody cares about it like you because you're the owner and they're the employees. All right? You bought yourself a 70, 80-hour-a-week job, mostly when you start a little small business. Because most of them are, frankly, just stupid ideas. Okay? They never will scale. They'll never really be anything.
I had one of those.
They'll be stuck to one little location. You'll sit there and unlock the door every day, and that'll be it. That's also pretty painful. Okay? You've got to find a business that can scale. And if you don't find a business that can scale, you don't have anything. All right? So that's the point. Here's a business. You can look at it. You can make it go. You can scale it. You're not risking your whole savings and all your retirement and all your friends' money and your family's money and all those things. You don't have to do that. You can build something extraordinary right here with just this company and with this vehicle we've all used. Okay, I'm supposed to do a presentation. I got sidetracked.
something like this, you know I'm telling you the truth. I am telling you the truth. And that's why I can stand there on stage all over the world in so many different languages, being translated with the same message, because it resonates with people, because it's the truth. Okay, is it hot in here?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. It's really hot. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to do this quickly because I don't have much time left. Okay? Okay. So there's two key words in network marketing. The first one is freedom. That's why we do it. That's what this vehicle called Nu Skin can deliver. It can give you health freedom. Freedom from disease. You can follow your scan score the rest of your life. You keep that score as high as you can. You take the supplements. You make your morning breakfast or a green shake or a protein boost. I know you don't have it yet, but you will someday. Okay? And you import it from the U.S., okay? And you make that your super nutritionally dense, low-calorie breakfast so you stay slim your whole life. You stay fit, okay? You don't smoke, okay? You limit your drinking. You get a healthy body. You want to live life. You want to have energy, okay? And you want to live long and live well. That's the whole anti-aging future of Nu Skin, right? And so that's what you do, okay? And then we have duplication. That is the first principle in system selling. Being a team player, duplication, right? That's how we get the freedom. That's why we have this system, you guys. We follow the system. The system creates the growth. It creates the mechanism, the framework, so that we can execute this vehicle and we can become free. And that's why we do it, okay? So, where does the money come from? Quick story for you. And I want you to do the same thing. If you've got a blank piece of paper, everybody here needs to know how to draw the compensation plan. If you've never learned how to draw it, big mistake, okay? I've drawn this plan tens of thousands of times. I've done it in thousands of restaurants, sitting there with somebody in coffee shops all over the world. I've drawn it on perfectly beautiful linen tablecloths and ruined them right in the restaurants. I've done it all, okay? And all you do is draw 2 lines down the piece of paper. That's it. That's where it starts. And then you start to fill it out like I'm going to show you right here. And if you've never done that, there's a YouTube video you can watch me do it online where I actually draw the compensation plan. You should watch it and learn how to do it, okay? I received my 20 million award, Joyce and I did, back in 2003. So we made a little money since then. And at that point in 2003, I went back and calculated, made a rough guess of how many presentations I'd done and how many times I had drawn the compensation plan. And I realized that at the 20 million earnings mark, I'd drawn that plan more than 10,000 times. And so I made $2,000 every time I drew the plan. How many times will each of you draw this comp plan if you get paid $2,000 each time? You will draw this plan as many times as you can every day, right? Because when people see the compensation plan, it gives them a bit of a vision. And I believe today when you can loop social media into the conversation, where you can talk about 2 billion active monthly users on Facebook alone right now, 750 million on Instagram, you can talk about how people have an literally inexhaustible pool of contacts. Literally inexhaustible, okay? You can go forever. People say, what? I'm going to talk to everybody I know. No, you haven't, but they think they have, right? What they are is they're trying to be mind readers. Oh, let me just look at you. I can read your mind. Yeah, you wouldn't be interested. I mean, who can do that? Are you being a mind reader? Are you making people's decisions for them by looking at them and you think you can read their mind? Well, I got news for you. You can't read people's minds, okay? So stop trying to be a mind reader. Just get everybody. Approach everybody. Let them decide if they're in the right place or not in their life and if they're ready to do it or not. What do you care if they say no? I remember when we started Nu Skin, and Joyce and I talked about this, and said, I think we ought to do it. And she's like, okay, well, if you really think we should, we know what it's going to take. We've tried this twice before, and it ended badly twice, So, what are we going to do? And I said, well, if you'll support me, then I'll crank on it. I'll go do it, right? And she said, okay, with the team, we'll go do this. We had $30,000 in the bank. Now, a lot of people don't have that. We worked really hard. We saved some money. We spent a lot of money, but we saved some money. Our expenses were $5,000 a month, and so we had 6 months of runway. 6 months of money before we go bankrupt if we didn't make this work. And so I had to make more than $5,000 on the 6th month. Otherwise it was over, okay? I mean, and when you're in real estate, you know, and you stop filling the pipeline of deals, the closings stop happening, right? And so 6 months. You know what that made me do? It made me get really serious. Like really serious about it. I knew nobody else was going to feed my children with 3 daughters under the age of 5 at the time. Okay? I knew nobody else was going to pay my mortgage payment. Nobody else was going to take care of my family. That was up to me to do it. So when I went out there to talk to people, I talked to everybody. Did I care what they said? Could I care if they said yes or no? I frankly didn't care. If somebody said no, I didn't care. I could care less. It was like next. Okay, done. I'm on to the next one. I didn't sit there and go, you said no. Oh, you just crushed me. Oh my God. Where's my binky? I need to go suck it and sit in the corner and suck my thumb, you know? I'll curl up in a fetal position. I'm not going to do that, right? I could have cared less if somebody said no. I'm fine. Thank you for saving me all the time trying to convince you. I'm going to go talk to the next one who's ready. I didn't have time to wait for people. I probably didn't have time to do attraction marketing in those days. Because I had to find the people now that could get into action now. That could build a group now. Right? And that's what it was. So, 3 lines, guys. 2 lines, right? Front end of the plan. This is where people on the front end can make, hundreds of dollars a month. They can add to their family budget. They can do wholesale to retail by posting, right? They can make some money on L1 bonuses, a little bit of money. But most of the money there is going to be wholesale to retail profit from posting. I think every one of you should have downlines in the United States because they'll make $10 a tube on all the toothpaste they sell. Okay? Way more than you guys make. I think you guys need to fix that over here. Because it actually, that product can support a higher price for sure, based on its positioning in the market, right? The middle part of the plan is where you become an executive. In the middle part of the plan, you can earn up to 20% commissions on your entire team volume. So if you've got people that are willing to build a big team and do a lot of volume, then they can do great things. I think Rebecca in her 3rd month was over 28,000 in group volume on her team. So she would have been right here in this 18% commission range, and she got around $4,000 or $5,000 check or something. Okay? So that's what can happen when you start to qualify. Okay? There are no requirements when you're just a distributor. There's no requirements. When you decide you want to start getting money back from new skin, yes, then there are requirements. That's when you need to start to do minimum commitments and minimum volumes. You qualify, you break away, you become an executive, okay? And then the back end of the plan. And Karen did a great job on this just a moment ago, so I'm not going to waste much time on this. But the fact is, most of the money is on the back end of the plan, guys. This can be really nice, but this is not going to set you free. The way you get free is you duplicate executives. You have to create an executive factory. Okay, what is the factory? What's the name of the factory that creates executives so you can be free? System 7 is the name of the factory. Okay? That's what helps you create executives so that you can be free on the back end of the plan. Very few companies will pay you 5% 6 generations deep. In fact, I'm not aware of any others that do that. That is a feat for Nu Skin to have survived that payout. Because most companies make a big promise and they overpromise. And after 4 or 5 years, when the compensation plan is under full stress, full pressure, because now people occupy all the positions possible in the plan, all of a sudden they go, oh my goodness, we can't pay the plan, we're going broke. And so they change the plan. All of you that are listening to brand new network marketing companies that are knocking on your door, that are pinging you on social media, oh, Nu Skin is so old, oh, everybody's already seen the toothpaste. Come look at our completely junky product that won't do anything. But you know what? You can be part of this. We dreamt it up in our garage last week, and it's really great. There's so much science behind it, okay? And who's the scientist? They go, it's me. Yeah, so it's a joke, okay? It's a joke. Don't be thinking the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, because it doesn't happen. You will not find a better opportunity anywhere. You will not find a company that will continue to innovate like this company continues to innovate. Okay, aka LumiSpot, which is now upon us, right? And others that will come in the future. They're already working on products for 5 years from now. At New Skin Live next month, they will introduce a dozen new social selling products that are very shareable online. That doesn't mean that we will get them in the U.S. either. Okay, they'll introduce them over maybe every 3 months or 6 months. They'll give us a new one. Okay, but they're going to show you the path. Next month, you're going to see how committed they are to where this is headed on social selling. And so that's going to keep enhancing the back end. Guys, all we're doing now that we can do social media marketing up here is that we're literally putting a lot more people in the funnel. A lot more people who get to decide that they want to make a commitment to change their future. And then we'll have a lot greater number of executives created in this company. And it's going to happen in a really, really significant way. I've never in my life been this excited about where we are in this company. Honestly, it's never been this good, ever. And so you're here at a phenomenal, opportune time in the business. All right, so let's talk about the average earnings for just a moment here. Okay, I know it's hard to see the full disclaimer, but what it basically says is this is hard to do. It's not going to be easy. You'll probably fail. Okay? And that's what it basically says, okay? So, you know, if you want to believe the lawyers, then that's fine. I choose to believe my own internal compass, which says I've got big dreams and big goals and big desires, and if somebody else has already done it, then I think I can do it too. Okay? All right. So, these are the average earnings, right, by leadership position for last year. In the United States, in the Americas region, I should say, it's a little more than $500,000 a year if you're a blue diamond. If you can go find 12 people on your front line to become executives in this company, 12 people that go through the qualification process, break away from you and become executives on your front line, then you will end up, in the end, creating that much average income. Now, the average time that it takes the average blue diamond to achieve the average blue diamond income of $42,000 a month is about 7 years. Now, that was before social media, okay? I didn't count what's happening here in this company the last couple of years. Those time frames will get shorter. They'll accelerate because you can reach more people faster, right? And so that's going to accelerate. Maybe it takes you 5 years. How many of you have been working somewhere for 5 years? Someplace. You're trying to make some money, right? You guys work on this side of the room? Anybody have a job over here? These guys raise their hands. Okay, a few of you guys work? Okay, good. All right. Yeah, so are you making $500,000 a year? I didn't think so. Because you're in the wrong vehicle. Not even possible in the vehicle you're currently in, right? And so you have to find a new vehicle that gives you the possibility of accomplishing that. Have a few people done this? Like 1 or 2 become blue diamonds, do you think? You know, people will say that to me all the time. Well, that's great. And they have to hear, well, how many people have actually done it? And I ask them another question. I love answering questions with another question. You ever tried that before? It's really effective. So they say, well, how many people have done that in your company? And I say, well, let me ask you a question. Where do you work right now? Oh, I work at blah, blah, blah. Good. How many people at blah, blah, blah make more than $500,000 a year? And they just kind of look at me like, well, I don't know. Like maybe 1, maybe 2. You know, maybe 50 in a huge, enormous company. Maybe. Okay? How many people in New Skin are blue diamonds? 2,000 blue diamonds as of last year. So notwithstanding the disclaimers, okay, I think you've got a lot higher odds achieving success here than you do in any other company anyplace else. Okay? And in this company, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, or the country you come from, or the language you speak, or your sex, or the education you have or don't have. None of that stuff matters in this company. All that matters is, how big is your dream? You know, are you on fire right here? Yes. You know what I mean? Are you ready to go make something happen and change your future? Okay? So, let's talk about a power line for just a moment. So what is a power line? Okay? This is an organization, a downline, one of your 12, let's say, that runs to 10 levels of executives or deeper, and ultimately ends up with blue diamond on top of blue diamond on top of blue diamond on top of blue diamond. Okay? And when that happens, that's a very, very valuable thing to possess, to own. Because a power line is worth anywhere from 20 to 40,000 US dollars a month per power line. Most blue diamonds and team elites in this company have one power line. And it almost happened by accident. You've heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together? Yeah, they'll find one of those birds who's really good, and that bird will go find other birds that are like them. And they end up creating this power line of leaders on top of leaders on top of leaders. And they'll go out and get the other 11 executives so they can get paid. They can tap in to the 6th generation of that power line. Now, I'm here to tell you and to teach you something today. The power lines don't need to happen by accident. I mean, I see people all the time that see somebody successful in New Skin, they'll go, well, they just got lucky. They got lucky. They found the right person. They got lucky. No, they didn't. What happened is they talked to enough people that they eventually stumbled across somebody who got it. Even if they didn't know how to explain it or do it, they just wouldn't give up. They just kept talking to people until they found one. And all of a sudden it clicked. And it took off, and an organization developed underneath that person. And I'm here to tell you that this is not a lottery. Okay, you're not, signing up a new skin and just like throwing it against the wall and hoping something sticks and like you win the lottery of new skin. That's not the way it works. This is a work program. Okay, there is a certain skill set that you need to learn, and mostly that skill set is inviting. That is mostly the skill set you need to learn, is how to invite people to look at the opportunity, right? Christian did a great job with the cake, right? You got to learn how to present the cake in such a way that they get it. And I gave you guys today, I gave you the heart of the matter. I gave you the core piece of what this really means today. And if you can internalize that core like I have, then you will have the confidence that I have when you talk to people. You won't be sitting back with people going, oh, is that some little network marketing thing? I work at BT, I got a big job. Okay? Guess what? They got nothing. They could be snuffed out tomorrow from their big job. They own nothing. Okay? What you can do is you can build something that you own. And it's not just some little network marketing thing. You can build a global business that gives you leverage around the world. Okay, this is a business of the 21st century. This is a business of the internet age. It's not a business of ages past. This is the future. They're living in the past. You're living in the future. You got that? Okay. So that's what it means. Now let's talk about how to build a power line. And we'll do this really quick. Okay? And then we're going to be out of time. What's your name? Katrina. Stand up. Help me remember the Rena on the end, okay? Let's say I know Katrina, and I call her up and I sponsor her in the business. She joins, she's serious about it, and she becomes an executive on my front line. And she knows a person named Katrina. You guys are not going to make this easy for me. Okay. So Katrina knows Katrina. Katrina. You have to help me with this one. K1 and K2. All right. So she knows her. She gets the vision. She becomes an executive in the business as well. Okay, she knows. Yeah. Okay. And Jan is on the 3rd level. And he becomes an executive. Okay? He goes through the qualification. He breaks away. And he knows. John. Thank you. That's good. And John sponsors Melanie. Okay? And Melanie's 5 levels down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Melanie knows Annette. Let me help you up there, Annette. And Annette is an animal. Annette, is the walker. Annette is the one who gets this thing. Annette is the one who says, where have you been my whole life? I've been building my contact base. I've got 23,000 people in my phone. My phone can't even hold them all. I've been collecting all these people. She's a person who is a connector. She's one of those rare people out there, and there's people that are actually termed connectors, right? Okay, and so she's a connector. She knows tons of people. She's great at keeping up relationships. You know, she's probably got a massive Facebook following and everything else, right? And all of a sudden we find her, and she just goes, I get it. As soon as I think, as I'm looking through these people, as soon as I find the one that I think has all the right pieces of the puzzle, contacts, resources, and credibility with those contacts. Okay? They have contacts, they've got resources, they're not completely broke, knowing how am I going to do this, right? Okay? And they have credibility. They haven't screwed their contacts with 5 other deals. Okay? And so they've got credibility with those contacts. All said, okay, I'm going to invest my time, a lot of time, in this person and their team. And the way it works, don't sit down. You don't want to roll up, okay? So, I go sifting. When I talk to K1. I'm sifting. She knows 2,000 people that I don't know, right? If she graduated high school anywhere, she knows that many. I don't know them. I don't have time to look at those 2,000. So what I want to do is I want her to show me the top 20. So I say, show me your best 20 people. You tell me your most successful family member, friend, business contact, community contact, right? FFBC, everybody knows that? Yes. Yeah, you tell me who those people are, right? Those are your natural networks, okay? She tells me, and that's where we find K2, okay? And K2 knows 2,000 people. I don't have time to look at them all. Show me your top 20. You find Yannick, right? And Yannick knows 2,000 people. Shows me his top 20. We find John. He shows me the top 20. We find Melanie. And we find Annette. And Annette's incredible. Okay? I go past all these people. People ask me all the time, so where do you spend your time? How do you work the business? What do you do, right? I spend my time where I'm going to have the greatest possibility of a big success. And there's some features embedded in New Skin's compensation plan that make this a very productive way to work your business. Okay, you cannot go out and sponsor 30 people on your front line at one time and think you can work anybody and do anybody justice. You're just throwing it against the wall. Boom, boom. Hey, good luck, man. Hope you make it. Boom. Right? That's what you're doing to people. What you want to do is sponsor 5, 6 people at a time. Okay? And then you want to set through them. You want to see out of those 5 or 6 who's going to play the game. Who gets it? Who wants freedom? Who gets this vehicle's different than anything they've ever done, right? And you just keep sifting, and as long as that thing keeps going, you keep going until you find the locker. Okay, and why do you find the locker on level 6, or sometimes level 7? That's even out of your pay line. You'll never get paid on level 7 if they all stay executives, right? So why would I come in and work with level 7 or level 8? Because it'll make everybody upline get busy if there's a bonfire burning down here. Okay? So that's the psychology of it. Here's the psychology. The fear of loss is a greater motivator than the prospect of gain. Don't ever forget that. Let me explain it. The fear of loss is a greater motivator than the prospect of gain. I mean, I can be sitting there talking to K1 all day long. This is a great business. You won't believe how good this is. You know, it's going to be wonderful for you in the future. Right? I can tell her everything I want to tell her. Because she's never going to be as motivated as if she already has this downline sitting right here underneath her. And she's got a net down here who's just blowing it up. 100,000 a month plus in volume. And all of a sudden, K1's up there going, oh my gosh, I've got to like hang in here. I've got a major dynasty brewing down here. I can't let this go. Because the fear of loss is a greater motivator for her than if she didn't have any of this. And it was just maybe it'll work in the future. Right? It's better to have something you have to lose than nothing that you're just hoping to get. Right? So that's what we've created down here. All right? So I start to spend all my time with the net. I call these guys maybe once every 3 days. And I just go, oh, you cannot believe what Annette's doing. They go, I know, I'm looking at my V&G. I say, stay busy. Keep recruiting. Okay? Don't miss your qualifications. And I just keep these people understanding that I'm spending my time. I'm working in your team. I'm helping you guys. She's going crazy, okay? So we just keep working down here. So Annette and I work together, and Annette creates 12 executives. This whole row, stand up. This whole row, right here. Stand up, all of you. Okay. You're all executives on her front line. I don't know how many there are, but I'm playing like there's 12, okay? So she just became a blue diamond. That's right. And when you become a blue diamond, here's the way it really works, guys. One of these 12, right here, one of these 12 is going to become a blue diamond just like her. Have you ever seen a binary compensation plan? A binary is a 2x2 plan. That's where they only let you sign up 2 people. Only 2. And then if you know somebody else, you've got to put them underneath those 2. And so they force you to give people to people in your downline, which has the really unfortunate effect of making those people think you're going to always give them somebody every month. And you now destroy these people and make them really weak because they never learn how to fish for themselves. They expect you to keep throwing them fish to eat every month. It's a messed up deal. And so you get 2 times 2 is 4, is 8, is 16, is 32, is 64, is 128, is 256, is 512. Right? And that's what the binary liars tell you. But that's what they are. They're all liars. Those plans never work like that, ever. And you can never get paid out of them because you have to match both of those legs exactly, or you don't get the money out of the big leg. Only get paid as deep as you can match the leg. Now that's a short little explanation on a very flawed compensation structure. Okay, but a lot of companies did it 10 years ago, and now everybody's figured out that they're all liars and they don't work, and you really can't get much money out of them. Okay? This plan actually will pay you the money. You do have to get the 11 other people on this power line, but it will pay you. And it'll pay you 6 generations of executives. Okay? So one of these 12 will become a blue diamond, just like her. Okay? And they will go get the other 12 right here. Whole row, stand up. Right here. Okay? One of them will get all these 12. And then the rest of them combined will get another 12. You 2 rows, stand up right here. Okay? And some will get 3, and some will get 6, and some will get 2, and some of them won't get any. They'll just be executives. Okay? That's how it really happens in the real world of New Scan. Okay? And so now she's got 24 executives on her second level, 12 on her first level. To make the math easy, we're going to say they do 5,000 group volume each. Everybody with me? So 5,000 times 12 is how much volume? 60,000 points. 5 times 12. 5,000 times 12. 60,000 points of volume. Okay? The Asians can do the math a lot faster than us Caucasians. Okay? Okay. All right. And so that's what we get here. And on the second generation, we got 24. And so we got 120,000 points. Okay. So on 6,000 points, she makes how much? What's her commission rate? 5%, right, on 60,000 points. Everybody with me? Is how much? Come on, Asians.
3,000.
3,000, okay. $3,000 in commissions to her, okay. And if there's 120,000 times 5%, $6,000 on her second generation. So that's 9,000 in her check for this month. Plus a little bit more in her own personal group. She's probably about 10,000 in commissions. And she probably sold some product on social media and made some retail profit. Okay? So good job, Annette. This is looking good, right? Okay, Melanie. Melanie. Melanie, look at your downline. Look at this dynasty you have going here. Good job. What's your title? Ruby? No, it's not. Yeah, the one we're explaining. Where are you? Gold executive, exactly right. How deep do gold executives get paid? Gold executive means you have one first level breakaway. Her name's Annette. You have one first level breakaway right here, and she's doing 5,000 in volume herself, right? And how deep do you get paid when you're a gold executive? Just one generation. Just right here. And so because of this massive dynasty of this building, you make 5% of $5,000. So you get a check for $250. Ouch. That's painful. Where did the rest of that money go? She didn't qualify for it, so where does it go? It goes back to your favorite charity newsstand. You're just giving it to them every month. because you're not qualified to reach it. You can't quite reach it yet. You can only reach right here. You can't quite reach all the way to your second level yet. Right? So what does Melanie have to do so she can get paid on her second generation? What does she have to do? Come on, guys, you know the compliment. You got to get one more. So we're going to get one more executive. So she recruits this lady. Thank you, Jackie. So she recruits Jackie. Jackie becomes an executive. That makes Melanie a Lapis executive. How deep you get paid as Lapis? 2 generations. 1 generation, 2 generations. Good job. So now she gets $3,000, plus she gets $250 and $250. So now she's at $3,500 by getting 1 more executive. You see that? She does 12 times her income by getting 1 more executive. Now, what does she got to do? She got to get 2 more, right? Okay, you 2. Stand up, bring her. Okay? She recruits both of these people. They become executives. She's now a Ruby, for real, right? Yeah. And now she can reach how deep?
3.
Yeah. Generation 1, Generation 2, and Generation 3. Why do we call them generations instead of levels? Because they're breakaway groups of people. I mean, there's like 30 people in this group. There's probably 50 customers eventually, right here. And there's 30 people here and 50 customers. That's why we call them generations, right? Don't ever get confused with those other compensation plans. People talk about all these levels. We pay 9 levels. Who cares? We could have 100 levels in 6 generations. It's not even close, okay? Don't get faked out by other stupid companies, okay? All right. So what we have going here is we now have 3 generations. So now, Melanie can get paid $6,000 plus $3,000 plus $250, $250, $250, $250. Right? So now she's at $10,000 because she got 3 more executives. Can you see what starts to happen? And what if, what happens here if Annette keeps going and she has 48 executives on her 3rd generation and 96 executives on her 4th generation and 192 executives on her 5th generation and 384 executives on her 6th generation. That's what can happen. This happened to me. I actually built a team just like this, and it went to over $1 million a month in volume underneath this person. So what did that mean for these people in between? John. Look at your team. Oh, you just lost 2 executives. Next one, provisional for a few minutes. Okay. All right, so this is what's happening now. John, he's got to look at this, and you know what? He's struggling, right? He's like, what does he think about every night when he goes to bed? Like, oh, this is painful life, right? Yeah, I mean, he's going to go out and he's going to be forced, if he has any sense at all, he's going to be forced to become a blue diamond. Melanie's going to create 11 more executives. John's going to create 11 more executives, right? Yachty's going to create 11 more executives. K2's going to create 11 more executives. K1's going to create 11 more executives, right? How many more executives is that if they all just do what they have to do to maximize the plan and get paid as deep as they can into the organization they already have?
84.
Think about it. So here's one. There's 11 more. Here's number 2. That's 22. That's 33. That's 44. That's 55. Okay? That's 66. So I have 66 executives that do 2,000 points a month minimum. It's 125,000 points. That's an additional $6,500 that I made just because these people had to do it. You see that? Okay? So the power of this is it's like an accordion. It's like you push it down, right? And then it comes flying back up. You push it down, you drive the line, and then it comes flying back up. It just goes... And that's how, if you can find a locker deep, then that's how you end up with blue diamond on top of 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 blue diamond. That's how it works. And I got to tell you, virtually every other network company, if the secret was known, they say, how does Nu Skin do that? how do they develop these like strong leaders? How do they develop like these teams that are just rows of blue diamonds and team elites, right? You know why we do it? Because we have a tough compensation plan. Because we don't just let people hang out for $50 a month like some companies do. Hey, just join our company. You'll never lose your position. Just do $50 a month. It's the stupidest thing on planet Earth. Okay? Because if he can hang out for $50 a month, they'll all hang out for $50 a month. Right? And if they all hang out for $50 a month, then nobody ever's motivated to go do anything. They'll wait until something else happens in their life, right? Yeah, because they'll never lose their spot. In Nu Skin, we have something called roll-up, the roll-up feature, that causes compression in the compensation plan. Let me ask you a question. If I'm a top leader and I understand this principle, would I ever be motivated to join a compensation plan that does not have a compression feature? Would I ever be motivated to spend my time sifting and looking through all these people's people and sifting and working day after day, looking, talking to a bunch of knuckleheads that don't get it, and finally finding people that do get it? Would I ever be motivated? No, I wouldn't, because these people could just hang out forever. She's on my 6th generation. What am I going to get paid? $250 a month if she does 5,000 in group volume? You think I'm motivated by $250 to sift all the way down here and find her and help her build a dynasty and teach her everything I know? Not a chance. I'm only motivated to do that if there's a chance that these people don't get their butts in gear and she's going to roll up and be my first level and pass all these people, right? Because the whole team would come with her. Now she's on my front line. You guys understand that? Okay, please go back in your position for a moment. We're not going to kill these people yet. They get a chance. All these people get a chance to catch up with the dynasty, right? They get a chance to do it. And if they're willing to work and do their volumes and recruit, and guys, you got to recruit. You have to stay recruiting your whole career. Okay, you got to learn to love recruiting. You got to learn to love talking to people. Basically, you need to learn to love people. And if you learn to love people and you've internalized the core of this business like I have, I feel like I'm saving people. I feel like I'm like the lifeline. I feel like I'm bailing people out of their stupid jobs. So that's how it works, you guys, just like that, okay? So that's why some of these features, like it's right here, you know, counting the first month of LOI volume. We're not going to have time today to go through why that's so important, but just look at number 2, roll-ups and compression. I just described to you why that's so important. And why when other network companies try to say, our plan's easy, you should turn around and run the other direction, because you will never make any money in those companies, okay? So what you do is you have the chance to make money right here. Let's give everybody a big hand. Thank you so much. So here is the team that I worked on. This is where I learned this principle of driving lines. And with this particular compensation plan in this company, this is the critical principle for you to learn how to maximize this compensation. All right? So, when I started, as I said before, I tried to ask myself one question: where's the money? Where's the money? Because if you don't know the answer to that question, you can't understand how to get the money. So where's the money, guys? It's on the back end of the plan. Okay, it's in the executive breakaway portion of the plan, right? That's why you want to create an executive factory, right? You want to run System 7 and crank out executives in your downline as fast as you can. Time is your most valuable thing. Don't waste it. There's no advantage in going slow. It's always better to go fast. Okay? The faster you go, the more excitement, the faster people get more money, the faster they recruit. Everything's better when you go faster. Okay? All right, so let's back up. So Richmond Flowers. So I went out when I started. It's the very beginning. No one's going to feed my family except me. And I got a lead. I didn't even know this guy. He was in Salt Lake City. He had an office there. He had a marketing business for real estate. I'd never met him before. And I got a name. I got a phone number. I called this guy on the phone. He says, you can come talk to me about your opportunity. I go down to his office. I've made my little homemade flip chart, right? This was just a bunch of pictures of people's half-face demos, you know, with the activator and facelift. It was some articles about aging baby boom population. It was my goals that I'd written down, and a little bit of a description of the compensation plan. That was my homemade flip chart that I used to present the business to people. And so this guy is sitting there. I give him my flip chart presentation. The guy says, you know, thanks, but not for me. I'm like, okay, that's great. You know, I'm glad you're not wasting my time. And I said, do you have anybody you can think of that's tired of what they're doing, they're sick of their job or their occupation, that is looking for an opportunity? And before I leave, the guy goes, you know what, funny you would say that. I met a guy 2 weeks ago that is like wanting out of his business. The guy's in the commodities future trading business. He's constantly tied to the market. He's watching the market quotes every second. His job is super stressful as he's trying to put on options contracts and get out of options contracts and not lose money for his clients. And so he said the guy hates what he does. He goes, here's his number. I've never met this guy. His name was Richmond Flowers. He lived in Florida. Okay? And so I call this guy on my cell phone, leaving my brick phone, leaving his office. Okay? That's why I have no hair on this side of my head, all that radiation from that brick phone. So I'm leaving the office. I call him. And I said, you don't know me, but I just got your name from this gentleman in Salt Lake City. He met you 2 weeks ago. He told me about your background. He said you might be looking for an opportunity that can get you out of what you're doing. And I said, I'm brand new at this. I just started a couple days ago. And I said, the opportunity is newsstand. And he goes, seriously? He said, I said, have you heard of it? He goes, yes. He said, I got invited to a newsstand presentation a week ago. And he said, no one has ever followed up with me. No one's ever called me back about it. I had to leave right after the meeting. And I said, well, we can take care of that right now. And I did. I signed him up right then. I put Newskin on the phone and I enrolled him on my front line right there. And I said, I need to know if you're serious. I said, I got a family to feed. I'm laser focused. I said, I'm brand new at this, but I know what I'm doing in network marketing. I've done this a couple of times before. And I said, if you're serious, I need to know. Because I need to know if I need to spend my time with you or not. And he said, I'm serious. I said, here's what I expect. I expect you to call me every day. I'm not going to call you every day. If you don't call me and you stop calling me, then I'll probably never call you again. I'm not going to have time, okay? So I expect you to call me every day. I want you to call me with 2 or 3 people a day, new people that we're going to talk to on 3-way phone calls. I want you to have 2 or 3 a day. And he said, I'll do it. And guess what? He actually did it. He called me multiple times. Sometimes he'd call me 5 times a day with new people. This guy wanted out. He wanted a better life, a different life, okay? He started to qualify as an executive in the business. And eventually, we talked to this lady named Paula Cook. And Paula worked for this airline called Eastern Airlines. And she told us the first time we talked to her, hey, I got this great job. I've been here 20 years. This is an amazing company. It'll never go bankrupt. Well, like 3 months later, they filed bankruptcy. You know, airline's gone, right? So she got very serious all of a sudden about doing newsstand. And she jumped in the game. Richmond and I had this phone call 2 months into it. Richmond says, hey, meet me in Dallas, Texas. He said, I used to play football for the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. I was like, wow, serious? I didn't even know that about you. He goes, yeah, that was a long time ago. And so I said, well, you're kind of famous then. He goes, not really, but I did play for the Dallas Cowboys. And he said, let's go to Dallas. I know a lot of people there. And so we go to Dallas, and I've never met Richmond. You know, we didn't have, FaceTime in those days, right? I had formed a mental image of him in my mind from all the phone calls we made, and it was totally different when I met him in person. He said, you're Richmond? Yeah, I'm me. Okay, good. Let's go talk to people. And so we went out and we had a meeting. We went down and we talked to his friend in the commodities business, Bob Creech. Bob Creech set up a small meeting in Dallas that day at a Hampton Inn. And there was about 20 people in the room. We found out at the end of the meeting the reason they all came is he promised to buy them drinks when it was all over. So they were not that interested in Houston, really. But we talked to him anyway. And, later he felt bad that he didn't invite like he should have. And so Richmond got a little bit upset with him that we'd spent our money, flew there on airplanes. We didn't have money to spend yet. We're just barely brand new in this business. And so Bob Creech says, hey, you know what? Let me try to fix this. He said, I know Danny White, who's the current quarterback of the Dallas Cowboy football team, and he's all pro. He's world famous. And then he said, let me set up an appointment. He calls us later that night, and he says, we got the appointment. We're going to meet Danny tomorrow morning. So we drive north of Dallas to a little town where Danny lives. We go to this office and we walk in, and it's like, life-size picture of him throwing the football, all the paraphernalia is there, all of his memorabilia from football and everything, all this old pro stuff. And I'm starstruck. I'm like, check this out, man. We are in Danny White's office. This is unbelievable. And so we sit down and they have all these pleasantries, and Richmond's telling him, yeah, I played for the Cowboys back, 15 years ago. Danny's, oh, really? They're doing the Mel Bondi thing, right? Oh, yeah, man, you're a Cowboy. Okay, good. And so we start to sit down, and Richmond says, hey, we're here because we got this great opportunity. Nathan, take it away. And so I pull out my little flip chart. And I start showing Danny a few pictures of people's faces and stuff. And he's not that interested. And I go, I got some product right here. And I grab a bottle of New Skin product and I slap it up on the desk. And when I put it on the desk, his eyes got like saucers. They're like, he says, is this New Skin? Is that what this is all about? And I said, yeah, it is. Very excited. And he said, I don't believe it. He said, there's a neighbor lady down the street that's been selling this to my wife for 2 years. He said, I've been sneaking my wife's cream for 2 years. Don't tell anybody. That's why I look so good, And I'm blown away. I thought, are you kidding? What are the odds? Then this guy is the all-pro quarterback, and he's actually using New Skin product. And then I explained to him that there was an opportunity with New Skin that could set him up. I said, Danny, you're famous right now. But I said, in 10 years, nobody's going to know who you were. Your notoriety is going to fade. And what you ought to do is take the fame you have today and leverage that into the future and have a residual income stream. And he got it. He goes, that sounds like a plan for me. And he decided, okay, let's do it. We called New Skin and signed him up right there, under Bob Creech, on the phone, right there, okay? So there's Danny White, joins the business. I was so pumped out of my brain when we left that meeting. Literally, I didn't need an airplane to fly home. I called my wife and I said, honey, you won't believe it. We just signed up Danny White, the Dallas Cowboys. She said, who's that? Like most women, right? They don't know who Danny White is. And I said, he's the all-pro quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I said, we're going to own Texas. This is incredible. I was so excited. I told Danny before we left, I said, look, I just want you to put 3 people a day on the phone with me, okay? That's the plan. You just let me talk to these people. Can you guys see what I'm doing? I'm driving the line. I'm going right down the line here, right? And so he did that for a couple of days. And then 4 or 5 days goes by, and I don't hear from him. He does have a game or two to play, right? So I'm not hearing from him. And so I finally get him on the phone a week later. I go, Danny. I said, man, where you been? He goes, well, I had a game and everything. He's been busy. And I said, well, look, if we're going to do this, you got to be consistent, man. You got to be calling me every day with people. I mean, I'm talking to him like this. Okay? No, but man, it's like hard. I got a lot of things going on. And he goes, I do still want to do it, but I got a lot of things, a lot of pressure. And I said, okay, would it help if I just came down and we talked to everybody at once? And he goes, yeah, that'll be fine. Why don't you come down here Thursday? So this was like a Tuesday morning. I said, 2 days. He goes, yep, I'll have like 15 people over here in my office. You know what my office is? You just come here. Okay, fine. And so I don't have money to do this, but I buy a 2-day airplane ticket, very expensive, and I buy a ticket for Dallas, Texas. I have one other group I'm working with, and I do a luncheon meeting with them, and that goes great. We sign up some people for luncheon. I'm driving over to go to Danny's office. It's about an hour drive. On the way, I call Danny on my brick phone, and I say, Danny, Nathan, how's it going? Hey, I'm just leaving Fort Worth now, on my way to your office, so I'll be there in about an hour. And he goes, Nathan, is it Thursday? I said, yeah, it's Thursday for sure. I'm actually here in Texas. He goes, shoot. I totally forgot. I'm like, well, how can you forget, Danny? We just talked 2 days ago. How can you forget that, He goes, man, I totally forgot. He goes, it's not even worth you coming up here. I said, Danny, really? I said, I'm just starting this. I don't have money to be blowing on airplane tickets and like you forget that I'm coming to town. And he said, he goes, I know. He goes, this is really bad on my part. He goes, let me try to make this right. He said, I'll be in Phoenix on Saturday. I grew up in Phoenix. That's where I was raised. That's where I played my college football. I know tons of people in Phoenix. He goes, I've got a family thing going on. I'll introduce you to my entire family if you come to Phoenix on Saturday. You know what I felt like saying to him? Yeah, right. Okay, let's see. You totally spaced this one. Yeah, let me just get back on that plane. I'll fly right back home. I'll buy another short-term ticket at full price, and I'll fly back to Phoenix so you can do this again. That's what I thought. I didn't say that. Then I had another thought. I said, but he is the all-pro quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably my last shot. And so I said, okay, I'll see you on Saturday. Don't forget. And so I called my wife, said I'm coming home early, And she goes, how'd the meetings go? I said, yeah, the luncheon was fantastic, really good. No problems at all. She goes, no. The football guy. How about the football guy? Oh, well, he forgot. She's like beside herself. He forgot. I said, yeah, he forgot. But it's okay because he's invited me to see his family on Saturday in Phoenix. And she's like, forget this guy. Are you kidding? He's never going to do this, right? So I'm just trying to be positive, trying to move forward. And so I do the same thing. Friday, I go down to the New Skin warehouse in Provo, and I buy 3 skincare kits and 1 hair fitness kit. We don't even have these kits anymore, okay? They were our basic product packages, $200 each. And we sold them for $250. I wanted to pay for my airplane ticket. So I got my remuneration packages in my hands, right? Saturday morning, I get on the flight. I go to Arizona. I've never been there in my life. I get this rental car. I've got the little map. There was no Google Maps in those days. And I'm driving out to Mesa. I'm trying to find this street. I find the street. I'm supposed to be there at noon. I'm circling around. There's no cars there, and it's like quarter to noon. No cars at this house. I'm thinking, great, here we go again. I go around the block and I come back. Sure enough, this has got to be the house. There's no mistaking it. I park my car. I grab my briefcase and these 4 blue bags, and I walk up to the front porch and I ring the doorbell. Ding dong. And I wait. 30 seconds. Here comes this older lady, very kind, wearing this apron, very grandmotherly. Opens the door. She goes, "Hi. How are you?" I said, "Fine, I'm here to meet Danny White. Is he here?" She goes, "No, he's not here yet." And I said, "Really? He's not here? You expect him?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, he'll be here. He's coming. He told me I should expect somebody coming." She said, "Let's see, he must be the New Skin Man. Is that right? The New Skin Man?" And I'm sitting there thinking, well, what should she do? All these bags of New Skin products and everything. I said, "No, I'm the Avon lady. Can I come in?" So she lets me into the parlor. I sit down there. She's in the kitchen making up a storm. And I finally put it all together that there's a family luncheon happening, that all the family's coming for food. And Danny's had me come in the middle of this thing, and it's starting to feel like an Amway meeting already to me, okay? And so I'm sitting there in the parlor for a few minutes, and she's making small talk, and we're chatting, and all of a sudden I hear the back door hit the wall. And all these grandchildren come screaming, running in, "Grandma, Grandma." She's hugging them, kissing them like grandmas do. And these kids are so happy. And here come the beat-down parents walking behind these kids, hands dragging on the floor, of course. And so they're like ready to have lunch. And there's 4 or 5 of these families that show up. And as soon as the parents walk past the opening towards the kitchen, out of the corner of their eye, they see me sitting in the parlor with all my blue bags. And they look at her and they say, "Who's that?" And she goes, "Oh, never mind him. That's the New Skin Man. He's here to help us show us some things." I'm like, insult to injury. How many times do I have to do that? That's the New Skin Man. That's the New Skin Man. That's the New Skin Man right there. And I'm getting incensed. I'm like, where is this guy? Where's Dan? Finally, he shows up. The celebrity's there. He's obviously the all-pro quarterback. And everybody, "Hey, Danny. All right, Danny's here. Okay." And so they all have this meal. Danny says, "Hey, y'all." He said, "This is my friend Nathan Rex." He said he's got this company called New Skin. He said, "I'm kind of looking at it. I'm not really in yet. I haven't really joined yet." I was like, "What? What are you talking about, man? You signed up." I didn't say that. I was thinking that. Okay? And he said, "So y'all eat really fast, and when you're all done here, we're going to have a quick meeting." That's the setup for the meeting. They're all really excited to hear me. So this meeting room is in a converted carport. This is like their old carport. They hold their cars under to get them out of the sun. And they had closed in the end where the doors were, right? And so they made this a room, a family room. And it was a homemade family room. They did it themselves, the construction, and had homemade air conditioning. And this is Arizona. And it's the last week of August. And it's really hot. Really hot. And so when it's all done, Danny grabs his dad and his sister and his little brother. And there's this other guy who's been sitting off in the corner, not interacting with anybody. He's just an angry guy. He's just sitting over there with this scowl on his face, just eating, and not even talking to anybody. And finally, Danny grabs this guy and says, "Come here, Scott." He goes, "You got to hear this too." And he goes, "What for?" Well, I found out later he was a contractor himself. He'd been building homes in the Arizona sun for 20 years. His skin was literally destroyed, just beat to death. Like the worst skin I've ever seen. And when he said to Danny, "What do I need to go in there for?" I felt like saying, "Because you look like a lizard." But I didn't say it. I just thought it to myself. So Danny just grabs him and sweeps him into the room. And so they've got this sectional couch there. So there's, Danny's father, Wilford, sitting here. And then he's got his little brother here. And then his sister's here. And Danny's over here. And on a chair all by himself is the angry guy. Okay? I'm sitting on a chair over here. I've got 4 bags. It's really hot. I'm sweating. And all of a sudden I just thought, okay, I got to get it done right now. It's do or die, and I got to do it right now. So I said, "I know you guys are all really interested in this." I said, "You know what? Let's jump right in." So I pull out my flip chart. And I start telling them about this. Look at this picture. I'm horrible at presenting, And I'm going 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. And I decide I better come up for air and survey my crowd and see how interested they are. And you can imagine being that hot, they're not that interested. And I probably looked up because I heard a noise, and I looked over at his father, Wilford, and Wilford's like this, in the couch. He's gone, out cold, snoring. That's probably why I looked up, right? And I look over at his brother, and he's like, "Oh man, there's sweat."